Hi. So I'm just going to go over the tech pack. I'm going to start with just the Excel file that I've given you in the homework assignment and going over some of the different pages on that. And then we're just going to talk about getting your Adobe Illustrator files into Excel and how you can update the tech pack. Okay? So here we have the front page of the tech pack. It has a header up here with a label um, of the page, right? And a name of the development company. And then it also has a flat, right? A fashion flat of the original or of the t-shirt that is getting produced, right? So this is the first page that the manufacturer sees. It's the first, it's like the standard communication between the factory and the designer, right? So it's really important that all the details on this are correct. Like if you design this with a third sleeve, if you draw a third sleeve on here, it will come back from the factory with a third sleeve. So you definitely want to make sure that like every stitch line is on the flat that you create. Every single detail is exactly the same as the t-shirt that you're copying. Um, and at some point this would have been done for the t-shirt that you're copying uh, in terms of like its production life. Someone did draw it in Illustrator at some point and make it into a t-shirt. So every page has the header, but some of the details change. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Um, all these details change down here, but every page has from here to here will be the same. So you will update that for each page, make sure it's the same. This is the back view, and you can see it has that little ring that a lot of t-shirts have. Um, there's, again, all the same stitch lines, and this time that little tag is on the other side. The details view 1, has just some call outs on it. So this is a call out when you have a circle and then a close-up view of what is in the circle. So this is how the seam of that little like slit is finished on the inside. Things are rolled over and then it looks like they're straight stitched, and then it looks like it's that's just like the inside of this cover stitched hem. Okay, so yeah, and everything else looks really similar. It just gives some examples of like how much overlap there is from the front to the back here. The back has like a self-facing binding. That's like a classy t-shirt when it has like a binding around the inside of the t-shirt instead of just um like a rough hem. Um, so that's what that second thin line is, and all of these are details that ideally you should take into account, but if you're new to Illustrator it might be hard, but you should try and do your best and kind of try to imitate these um, stitches and everything with Adobe Illustrator. Uh, Second details page has a close-up of the back of the neck. And these are all like decisions that you can make about your tech pack. Maybe you only need one details page, but this one has a detail on the the half moon facing that this t-shirt has, how much the stitch overlaps as it comes around from the front to the back, um, how much the bottom of the hems should overlap, that kind of thing. And this is a really detailed tech pack, and I think particularly because it seems like it's making such a high quality t-shirt, there's a lot to talk about here. Uh, okay, so those are the 3 pages that need the most detailed flats. For the points of measure page for the t-shirt, you should be able to use pretty much the same um, points of measure as this t-shirt, unless your t-shirt has something crazy going on. This should be sufficient. That's totally fine for you to not draw your own points of measure page. Over here we have the specs, and these correspond to certain measurements over here. So shoulder to shoulder point is T to A, and we can see that that's this line here from the shoulder to the shoulder. There's a tiny TA. I'll zoom in. Yeah, maybe you can see it a little better now, TA. So all of that should kind of be similar to your t-shirt, and you can physically measure your t-shirt, or you can use the pattern you made last week, and just refill out this page with the relevant information. The grade rule, this whatever sample size is highlighted here corresponds with the size on the points of measure page. So this is for a large t-shirt, and it actually does indicate that in the sample size up here, large. So then that's the central, the centered grade rule. But if your t-shirt is a medium, you can highlight the medium instead. Home, and then next to border you can choose outside borders, and that should do pretty much the same thing. Maybe I didn't do it right. Oh, I guess it did give it a bit of an outside border. I just have to remember how to make it a bit thicker. Line style, I guess. Ugh. I sometimes long for the days of early Excel when I always knew what was happening. But here we go. Yes, now we have the outside highlighted, and I'm sure we could figure out how to unhighlight that with enough futzing, but we can just write sample size in here. So reformatting a little bit as we go is something that you could be expected to do. And then if the measurements on either side don't make sense, you can adjust them, but I don't expect you to create your own grade at this point. So if you want to leave them alone, that's fine. I'm not requiring you to fully transform this page. We have plenty to do without that. Yeah, something like this. Line style, give it that thin line back. All right. Home, all borders. There we go. All right, something like that. Let's move on to the bill of materials page. We are going to replace anything here that doesn't make sense for your t-shirt with stuff for your t-shirt. By the way, I think we can shut off this page view by going to view and then normal. And the page break preview is just like how it's going to print. But if you are getting distracted by that, like I was a bit, you can adjust it under the view tab. And probably your garment is jersey. Hopefully it has a tag and you would be able to replace this with like probably 100% cotton. I feel like most t-shirts are 100% cotton. Um, and you can find a supplier or make up a supplier, and these are about like how the fabric is sourced. So it's 60-inch wide and cuttable, and like the finish. And then colors are indicated down here. So that's something that you might want to adjust down here too. And then the 1x1 rib, that's for like around the t-shirt, around the collar of the t-shirt. A lot of times there's like a ribbed fabric there. And so that's something that would have to be sourced and added to this bill of materials, and it's probably the same amount of cotton as the t-shirt, so you could adjust that there. And then it gets into the type of thread. Most thread is polyester because it's really strong, and the type of label. So this is the exterior label. It's probably this guy on the side, this little guy. Okay. And then the size label is on the inside, right? So it has all of these codes for these labels, and you don't have to necessarily worry about the code, but you should indicate all the parts that are used. And there is a labels page coming up that breaks down where all of the labels are exactly. And then it gets into the bags. So like the hang tags are attached by safety pins to the garments, and then it's put, excuse me, it's put into just like a clear plastic bag probably. And we're gonna see more of that on the labels and folding instructions page in a bit. Let's look at the constructions notes page. So these codes, I'm going to try to find you a explanation page where these are broken down. If this is the shoulders, then I know that TS stands for top stitch. I don't know exactly what this means, but I think it just means 4T overlock or 4-type overlock. I'm not sure what the 4T stands for, but probably the OL is the overlock. So it's probably straight stitched together and then like overlocked over it to top stitch it down. And then the same technique are used for the neck and the armhole. Um, so uh, every seam in the garment should be addressed here, and the location slash description of how it should go together should be kind of addressed to the best of your abilities. If I understand, this might be a little bit confusing at this point, so let me know if you have any questions once you, hopefully I'll be able to find that page that gives a little bit of the code. And then onto the labels and folding instructions page. So if your t-shirt is pretty basic, you can use these same folding instructions. That's fine with me. Um, but if it has any cool or specific labels on it, ideally you should make a little note about the labels, even if you're just zooming in on your garment and saying like, oh, here's the label here, make sure to do this, is kind of the idea. Um, yeah, so the front few pages are always um, clear of any callouts or words until the detail pages. And this is so someone in the factory could write and make notes on them about their own measurements and process. Um, so the front and back shouldn't have any words on them except for the header. And speaking of the header, you should adjust this to reflect your t-shirt. It doesn't have to reflect the exact t-shirt that, like, you don't have to fill this out with like Nike. That's unnecessary, or like whatever the t-shirt brand is. But you could make up your own developmental company name, and adjust like this to fall 2020. The designer can be, you know, your name. Make sure the sample size and the potential size range are adjusted, and adjust anything else that makes sense, right? Update the brand, um, all of that. So then you could copy and paste anything that you've changed up here. You could select all of that and hit copy, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and paste. Except you would want to make sure to not change um, front view. We would want to keep that back view. Okay. And then you could update your drawings. So I'm just going to update a couple. I have my drawings in here. I've made the artboards the same size as my drawings using the artboard tool, so you can adjust things so they're larger and smaller. And we are going to save these as JPEGs. So File, Export, Export As. You can't go to just File, Save As for saving as JPEGs in Illustrator. And we can go to, yeah, we have to choose JPEG from this drop-down menu if it's not already selected. And then we can save it somewhere. And we want to check off use artboards in my case because I have two artboards, which are these square sections. So we can hit export. And this quality looks good. We want a high resolution, anti-aliasing, on or off probably doesn't really matter that much. Color doesn't matter because it's in black and white. If you ever want to add more artboards, just while I was talking about them, this is the artboard tool. Like I said, you can adjust the size of artboards here. And then you can also add new artboards up here. So if you wanted to have more illustrations as you went that were all exported as once, as long as you check off use artboards. Sorry about that. We want to go back to Excel. And I'm going to delete that and find the new document that I made. And of course, it did not export the artboard separately, unless I did it wrong. It's annoying. Oh well, it looks like this, but we can actually crop stuff in Illustrator, or sorry, in Excel, but it's not letting me place it that way. So I'm going to go to Insert Pictures from this device and find it this way. Okay, and we are going to, I think we can crop in here. Oh well, I'm actually, yeah, I'll just back out and make sure I do it in Illustrator the right way. So File, Export, Export as, JPEGs, use artboards, t-shirt, export. All right, it worked that time. Maybe I didn't do it last time. But we will go to Insert, Pictures, so that's the front view. Same thing back here, we could replace the backlit view. So that's the idea. Just updating it the best of your abilities and really starting to think about what makes a piece of clothing, where all the seams are on this clothing, um, how that relates to like how it's going to get constructed, right? So uh, please, yeah, let me know if you have any questions, okay? Bye.